En la serie que le hemos titulado Natividad, estamos principalmente hablando de las diferentes escenas que ocurrieron en este gran evento que conocemos como el nacimiento de Cristo.
And in the series that we've titled Nativity, we've been talking about the different scenes of the Nativity and people and characteristics that people had, and today we're going to continue that.
Y la idea de la Natividad principalmente es ilustrar todo lo que sucedió en este evento en una forma artística.
And the point of the Nativity scene is to illustrate everything that went and happened in this, to show what happened throughout this process of Jesus' birth.
Y en la Natividad expresamos que varias de las personas que simbolizan dentro de este evento se encuentra José y María.
And throughout the Nativity story that we've been talking about, we see that there is Mary and Joseph.
Y hablamos en el primer mensaje que ellos son la representación del carácter de Cristo.
And we talked about on the first message that Mary and Joseph represents the character of Christ.
Luego de eso, la semana pasada hablamos de los segundo grupo de personas en esa natividad o en esa imagen de la natividad, que son los pastores, y ellos representaron la audiencia a quien Cristo vino a rescatar y cuál fue su misión.
In the second part, we talked about the shepherds that came and visited Christ. They represented the audience that Jesus was trying to reach.
Y mencionamos que la audiencia eran aquellos que otros no consideraban dignos. Jesús y Dios mismo los consideró dignos de ser salvos y luego los envió a expandir las buenas nuevas.
And we talked about how Jesus and God picked the people that were in that society not worthy, but Jesus and God chose them to be worthy and to be representatives and to spread the word about what they had seen.
Y hoy vamos a ver la tercera escena que incluye unos visitantes del Oriente.
And today we're going to look at another part of the Nativity that includes visitors from the East.
Y ellos, hoy vamos a ver cómo representan lo que se convertiría en el alcance de Cristo en su misión de rescatar al mundo.
And we're going to see today how these people accomplish Jesus' mission of reaching every part of the world.
Y la historia que vamos a leer hoy se encuentra en Mateo capítulo 2, versos 1 al 12.
And today we're going to look at Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 and 2.
Y en el verso 1 y 2 dice: Jesús nació en Belén de Judea durante el reinado de Herodes. Por ese tiempo, algunos sabios de países del oriente llegaron a Jerusalén y preguntaron: ¿dónde está el rey de los judíos que acaba de nacer? Vimos su estrella mientras salía y hemos venido a adorarlo.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 and 2 says, Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from the eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him."
Aquí volvemos a lo que hemos estado hablando de esta escena. Lo primero que establece es que nació Jesús.
And I'm going to go back to this nativity scene, and what is established here is that Jesus was born.
Pero el dato que nos añaden a lo que hemos discutido en las pasadas semanas es que fue durante el periodo de un rey llamado Herodes.
And another detail that was added to this side of the story was that it was during the reign of a king named Herod.
Ahora, este Herodes no debe ser confundido con el Herodes que estaba en la historia de Juan el Bautista.
This Herod shouldn't be confused with the Herod that was mentioned in John the Baptist.
Este Herodes solamente vivió hasta un tiempo después de que Jesús era niño, probablemente hasta que Jesús tenía 6, 7, 8 años aproximadamente.
This king that is mentioned during this time is he probably reigned until Jesus was 6 or 7 years old.
Y luego en la historia tú puedes ver la razón por la cual sabemos eso, pero Herodes era el dirigente de esto. A pesar de ser considerado rey, realmente era un funcionario funcionario apuntado por el gobierno romano para vigilar a los judíos.
And King Herod was more of a, he was appointed by the Romans to kind of be that representative for the Roman power and to enforce rule for the Jewish people, but it was more of a title rather than a position of power.
Y mientras seguimos observando el pasaje, vemos que dice que llegaron unos sabios del oriente.
And as the passage continues, it talks about how some wise men came from the east.
Ahora, dentro de los evangelios no hay mucho más detalles que esta descripción sobre ellos.
And within the gospel, there's not much more details about who these people were other than what's found here.
Teólogos y gente estudiosa a través de la historia han tratado de deducir qué tipo de personas eran.
And theologians and biblical scholars throughout history have tried to come to a conclusion to see who these people were and where they were from.
Y de acuerdo con lo que muchos han llegado a estar de acuerdo, los mencionan en tres formas. Los conocemos como sabios, los conocemos como magos y los conocemos como reyes.
And throughout the different conclusions, they have come to be known as either wise men, magi, or kings.
Y luego, con la expansión de la religión cristiana católica a través de el continente europeo, llegaron a asignarle nombres que hoy conocemos como Gaspar, Melchor y Baltasar.
And as Christianity expanded throughout Europe and the Catholic influence, they were given names as, what are they in English? Yes. The three wise men, what are their names?
Baltasar,
Yeah, Balthasar. You know the three kings' names? Jennifer?
Gaspar.
Huh? Oh.
No.
But yeah, but they got names. My bad.
Okay. Bueno, Gaspar, Melchor y Baltasar, es en español.
Yeah. We'll have to look it up, I'm sorry.
Esos nombres fueron asignados por la gente que creó la escena de la natividad.
And those names were assigned by the people that had created this artistic representation called the Nativity.
Pero realmente los magos de Oriente no estuvieron en el mismo momento que los pastores estuvieron.
And in reality, the people from the east, or the wise men, were not there at the same time with the shepherds.
De hecho, se estima que ellos llegaron aproximadamente de 1 a 2 años luego del nacimiento de Jesús.
And it is estimated that these wise men arrived about 1 to 2 years after the birth of Christ.
Y pronto vamos a mirar por qué.
And we're going to see why we think it was 1 to 2 years.
Ahora, basado en profecías hechas por diferentes personas, incluyendo Isaías y Jeremías, menciona la llegada de reyes y mercaderes viniendo a ver a el Señor.
And based on scriptural prophecies said by Isaiah and Jeremiah, they mentioned people from the east coming, like kings and merchants and people from the east coming to see the birth of Christ.
Por eso se asume que o eran reyes, o eran sabios, o eran magos.
And that's why it's assumed that they were either kings, wise men, or magi.
La razón por la cual se asume que son magos es porque ellos llegaron ahí siguiendo una estrella como describe el pasaje.
And the reason they're referred to as magi is because they had followed a star. They studied the stars and they arrived there because of a star.
En aquel tiempo, el estudio de la astrología era considerado un estudio mágico o de profesión de los magos.
And during that time, astrology was the profession of people that they were called magi, and they were do those things.
Y básicamente la astrología que estos hombres utilizaron más bien no era la de lectura de la suerte, sino la lectura del movimiento de las estrellas.
And the astrology that they practiced, it wasn't based on like good luck or things like that. It was based on studying the stars and the movement of the stars.
Y con eso definían direcciones, posiciones, tiempo y en qué tiempo del año estaban y dónde estaban posicionados.
And as they studied the stars, they were able to map their location and position of the sky. Based on that, they were able to know the seasons and know where they were at astronomically speaking.
Y todos hemos escuchado la historia y vamos a llegar un poquito más adelante de eso, que hubieron 3 regalos que trajeron.
And we all have heard the story, which is going to be mentioned further on, but that there was 3 gifts given.
Por eso, algunos en las imágenes de la natividad principalmente se despintan como 3 personas que fueron los que llegaron.
And that's why, like in the nativity scene, we only see 3 people because there were only 3 gifts.
Pero realmente, en esencia histórica, se piensa que habían alrededor de unos 12 o más personas que llegaron juntos.
And in reality, historically speaking, there would have been more like 12 people that came together like in a caravan.
Porque incluían, si eran reyes, incluían protección, incluían también su guarda, y también es posible que realmente hubiese un astrólogo con el rey, porque usualmente ellos eran los que daban consejo al rey.
So it would have been more if there was all those people that showed up with them, was because if they were kings, they would have had like bodyguards and protection, and then they would also have their wise men and astrologers giving advice to the kings.
Entonces, por eso es que se piensa en general que fueron más de 3 personas, pero en la imagen se asumen solamente 3 porque hubieron solamente 3 regalos.
And in reality, it's assumed that there was more than 3 people, but because of the 3 gifts, they were represented as 3 people in the nativity scene.
Pero no hay en ninguna área de las escrituras hay un número definido para estas personas.
But in the scripture, there is no defined numbers about how many people showed up.
Bueno, estableciendo toda esta idea para entender la razón y cómo llegaron ahí, lo primero que vemos es que dice, llaman al rey judío.
And now that we have established the background, now we see that they go and call upon the king of the Jews.
Entendiendo este tiempo, recuerden que mencioné que Herodes era un servidor de Roma.
I remember we mentioned that King Herod was in the service of Rome.
Entonces, el mencionar que había nacido un nuevo rey, inmediatamente era un tipo de alarma.
And when they mentioned that there was a new birth of a new king, that raised alarm bells.
Primeramente, porque Herodes ya tenía un hijo mayor que iba a heredar el reino.
And first of all, this raised alarm with King Herod because he already had a chosen heir, an older son that was going to inherit the kingdom.
Eso significa que inmediatamente su posición estaba en peligro.
And that signified to Herod that his position was threatened.
Lo segundo es que están bajo el gobierno del emperador romano,
And the second thing was that they were under Roman rule.
lo que significa y lo que muchos pensaban y deseaban que era el pueblo, hablaban de la llegada del Mesías como el libertador del imperio romano, él iba a destruirlos.
And as throughout the people in the Jewish culture, there was the waiting of the Messiah that would come and free them from the oppressive rule from the Roman Empire.
Entonces en el verso 3 dice, cuando el rey Herodes oyó eso, se perturbó profundamente al igual que todos en Jerusalén.
And in verse 3 it says, King Herod was deeply disturbed when they heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem.
Ahora, si tomamos este momento literal, es un poquito difícil, pero si pensamos cuando se refiere a todo Jerusalén, está hablando a toda la gente de posición importante, esta descripción hace mucho sentido.
And as we look at this where it says, as was everyone in Jerusalem, when we think about it, the people in positions of power were the ones that were afraid, and it makes sense.
Porque todos estaban en peligro.
Because that would mean that they were all in danger of losing their positions.
Y en el verso 4 y 6 dice, mandó a llamar a los principales sacerdotes y maestros de la ley religiosa y les preguntó, ¿dónde se supone que naciera el Mesías? En Belén de Judea, le dijeron, porque eso es lo que escribió el profeta. Y tú, oh Belén, en la tierra de Judá, no eres la menor entre las ciudades reinantes de Judá, porque de ti saldrá un gobernante que será pastor del pueblo de Israel.
And verses 4 and 6 says, He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked, Where is the Messiah supposed to be born? In Bethlehem, in Judea, they said, for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you who will be the shepherd for my people Israel.
Herodes no tenía ningún tipo de idea de esto porque no le preocupaba.
And King Herod had no clue about these prophecies because it didn't matter to him.
Y como era un rey apuntado por los romanos, no tenía ningún tipo de afiliación directamente con los grupos religiosos.
And because he was appointed by the Romans, he didn't have a connection or wasn't affiliated with the Jewish people there.
Simplemente estaba gobernando la tierra.
He was just there to govern the land.
Y cuando pasó esto, llama a la gente que se supone que sepa y le informan que la profecía dice que van a ser en Belén.
And upon learning about this news, he gathered everyone that would know who would know where the Messiah was supposed to be born, and they informed him about that.
Y una vez que escucha la profecía, vemos en el pasaje número 7 y 8 y dice, luego Herodes convocó a los sabios a una reunión privada y por medio de ellos se enteró del momento en el que había aparecido la estrella por primera vez. Entonces les dijo, vayan a Belén y busquen al niño con esmero. Cuando lo encuentren, vuelvan y díganme dónde está para yo también vaya a adorarle.
And upon learning this prophecy, we see here in verse 7 and 8, then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child, and when you find him, come back and tell me so that I can go and worship him too.
Él, una vez que tiene la reunión con los grupos religiosos, llama a este grupo de magos, sabios o reyes a su comunidad y le informa lo que la profecía dice.
And as we see here, after learning about this, he informs the wise men about what the prophecies say.
Y luego le hace preguntas para entender cómo ellos descubrieron esto y cómo recibieron el mensaje, ya que eran extranjeros.
And he asks them questions about how they got this information because they were foreigners.
Y como extranjeros, era extraño a menos que de cierta forma hubiesen espías que estuvieran sacando esa información.
And as foreigners, it would be suspicious because that would mean there might be some spies sharing that kind of information.
Entonces, dentro de todo esto, Herodes está formulando un plan para eliminar el problema antes que se convierta en un problema.
And as you see here, Herod is formulating a plan before there is a more growing problem with this new issue.
Y toma el espacio y les dice, vayan, búsquenlo, está en Belén, búsquenlo, esfuércense en encontrarlo y luego me invitan porque yo quiero conocerlo también.
And he goes and tells them, well, go ahead and find this child born in Bethlehem and find him and make sure you guys let me know where he's at so then I can come and worship him too.
Vemos cómo está maquinando una idea y los extranjeros no conocen nada de la idea de la profecía. De lo contrario, no hubiesen tenido que haber ido al rey a preguntar. Lo que vemos es que simplemente esto es una reunión cordial en la cual ellos están compartiendo información.
And with the wise men, they were not aware of these prophecies and things like that. So when they're meeting with the king, they just take it as a cordial meeting and leave it at that.
En el verso 9 y 10 continúa la historia y dice, después de esa reunión los sabios siguieron su camino y la estrella que habían visto en el oriente los guió hasta Belén. iba delante de ellos y se detuvo sobre el lugar donde estaba el niño. Cuando vieron la estrella, se llenaron de alegría.
Says here, verse 9 and 10. After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy.
Ellos salen de la reunión, están contentos porque finalmente tienen una información nueva. Salen, continúan el camino siguiendo la estrella. Una vez que llega a Belén, la estrella se detiene en el lugar donde ellos tenían que ir.
Just to recap, remember they left the interview and they went on their way, and the star guided them all the way to where the child was in Bethlehem.
Y una vez que llega ahí, dice, se llenaron de alegría.
And it says there, as they arrived to that location, they were filled with joy.
Y Belén era una ciudad algo no muy rica económicamente.
And Bethlehem wasn't a big, prosperous or rich town.
Entonces ellos no se llenaron de alegría porque llegaron a un gran palacio.
And they were filled with joy because they arrived at a great palace.
Ellos se llenaron de alegría porque finalmente habían encontrado a la persona que estaban buscando.
They were filled with joy because they found the person they were looking for.
Y luego vemos en el pasaje, en el verso 11, dice: entraron en la casa y vieron al niño con su madre, María, y se inclinaron y lo adoraron. Luego abrieron cofres de tesoros y le dieron regalos de oro, incienso y mirra.
Verse 11 says, they entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Y este pasaje nos da luz a otro detalle adicional que no estaba en los otros que hemos estudiado en las pasadas 2 semanas.
And this passage gives us another insight of what happened that it's not found in the other Gospels.
Recuerden que en aquel momento, en las pasadas historias dice, y se encontraban en un pesebre y lo arroparon en ropa, y luego los pastores llegaron al pesebre.
Remember, if you guys recall that the other passages say that once he was born, they wrapped the baby in cloth, and then the shepherds came to worship him.
Pero aquí claramente establece que ellos no entraron al pesebre, entraron a su casa.
And here it shows us that it doesn't say they showed up at the manger, they showed up at their house.
Entraron a su casa. En otras palabras, ellos ya se habían establecido y estaban viviendo en Belén.
And with all that information, we can tell that they had established a home and they were living in Bethlehem.
De donde originalmente venían, del área de Nazaret, se habían establecido una casa nueva y estaban viviendo en Belén de Judea.
And as we saw earlier, that they left Nazareth and they had arrived at Bethlehem, but then they established themselves and got a home in a place there and lived in Bethlehem.
Entonces, eso quiere decir que ya llevaban tiempo también en ese lugar.
And this indicates that they had already spent time living in that place.
Ellos entran, ven a su madre, ven al niño y luego se postran y lo adoran.
And it says that they go into the house and they see Mary and the child, and then they bow down and worship him.
Ahora, a este momento no sabemos cuántas veces esto ha ocurrido a María, así que me imagino que no sería tan sorpresa.
So at this point, we don't know how many times this happened to Mary, but maybe she wasn't as surprised.
Pero lo que sí es que podemos establecer como sorpresa es que estas personas que estaban ahí abrieron cofres de tesoro.
Well, it could have been a surprise is that the people that showed up had treasure chests.
Y los tesoros que trajeron eran tesoros de gran valor,
And the things that they brought were gifts of great value.
que también tiene significado en el contexto teológico y cristiano.
And which each gift has significance theologically speaking.
Abrieron oro, incienso y mirra.
They opened and brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Ahora, el oro, el incienso y la mirra en aquellos tiempos eran productos de alto valor.
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh was products that had high value.
El oro se utilizaba como un método de intercambio de dinero como hoy día.
And gold was used as currency and interchanged, kind of like today.
Se utilizaba también en la creación de prendas, al igual que hoy.
And it was also used for jewelry and production, the same as today.
Y se utilizaba también en la creación de armaduras para personas de alto calibre o posición. Y se utilizaba también para crear estatuas o simbolismos y estructuras.
And also the gold was used to also make armor for high status people, statues, and things of high value.
El oro representaba algo de alta estatura entre los metales,
And gold represented a high value when it comes to metals.
al igual que hoy lo evaluamos bastante similar.
And the same as nowadays how we value gold.
El oro inmediatamente le dio una acción o una cantidad de dinero que probablemente no tenían ellos.
And the gold provided some sort of income that they probably didn't have.
Y probablemente lo ayudarían a embarcar el resto de lo que tenían que hacer por los próximos años.
And that money would have helped them out on the things that they had to do the next following years.
Pero en la parte simbólica, cuando un rey visitaba a otro rey, era acostumbrado dar tesoros e intercambio como forma de respeto.
And when kings met other kings, it was customary for people to bring gifts and give each other things of high value to show their respect.
En otras palabras, el oro era un significado o simbolismo de respeto a otro rey superior.
And the gift of gold was a symbolic gift that said that represented respect towards someone of a higher status.
El incienso también era un material bastante vendido y mercadeado en aquella época.
And then frankincense was another high value item that was popular and tradable and really expensive during that time.
Salía de el extracto de un árbol que se llama el árbol de Frankenstein o el incienso, y de ahí lo utilizaban ese extracto principalmente para desarrollar medicina, para desarrollar, se utilizaba en rituales religiosos y se utilizaba para combinarlo con aceite de oliva para que durara más.
And frankincense comes from a tree where they used to use the extract of it and develop it into oil, and it was used to create medicines, used for remedies. It was used and mixed with olive oil so it would last longer. So it was something that was practical and used.
Y era considerado de alto valor porque solamente lo utilizaban en los productos más grandes.
And it was considered high value because frankincense was only used in the high status, and it was rare to found.
Muchas mujeres de nobleza utilizaban perfumes hechos de incienso.
And a lot of women that were nobility would use frankincense-based perfumes,
haciendo que este material fuera uno bastante valioso.
which meant that this material was super valuable.
Ahora, entrando en el área del simbolismo,
And going and looking at it at a symbolic way,
el incienso fue designado principalmente por Dios al tabernáculo de Moisés para que fuera echado sobre el sacrificio que iban a quemar.
and in the Old Testament we saw that frankincense was used when Moses was around, and at the tabernacle they were supposed to put frankincense over the sacrificial animal that was going to be offered up to God.
Y por eso la expresión que se utiliza, había una fragancia que salía que le daba a Dios placer.
And that's why we get the term of it was a fragrance that pleased the Lord.
Porque se utilizaba el incienso en eso para que oliera así, y yo me imagino que es para que no oliera como si fuese una parrillada.
Yeah, so they would put frankincense oil on the carcass of the animal and be burned, and it would smell good. And we imagine that the reason they did that was so it wouldn't smell like a barbecue. It would be a pleasing smell.
Imagínate tú siendo el sacerdote oliendo barbecue todo el día.
Imagine being the supreme priest smelling barbecue all day.
Te distraería de la presencia de Dios.
You would be distracted from the presence of God.
Por eso, parte de lo encomendado era que el incienso se ponía en el sacrificio.
And that's why it was used. It was commanded for them to use that frankincense to put on the sacrifice,
simbolizando que este niño iba a ser el sacrificio donde este incienso iba a ser puesto.
and the symbolism is that this would be put on the sacrifice on this child that was going to be the ultimate sacrifice.
Adicionalmente a esto recibió mirra.
And additional to this, he also received myrrh.
Y mirra también es extracto de otro árbol.
And myrrh is also another extract from a tree.
Y la mirra era utilizada principalmente en analgésicos.
And myrrh was used as
Medicina.
medicine, yes. Numbing? Wouldn't it be numbing? Or?
Analgésicos son los que... Sí, para la
Cold medicine, all right. Oh, the translator has broken, I'm sorry. All
sí,
right.
cosas que como para
Remedies like cold remedies and all that stuff, okay.
ajá,
All right.
la fiebre y todo eso.
Okay, yeah, it was used for remedies, okay.
Y también era costumbre, como tenía gran olor, salían perfumes de ellos, pero el olor era fuerte y que duraba.
And myrrh was also used for perfumes and base for that, and the smell was so potent that it was used and would stay there for a long time, that smell.
Y parte de la cultura egipcia era utilizarla en el embalsamiento de momias.
And myrrh was used, it also was used in the Egyptian culture to embalm mummies.
Porque las momias en esa época ellos las presentaban también y las hacían rituales, y la mirra prevenía el olor de la pudrición de la carne.
And the reason you used myrrh was because they were also present and bring things to the mummies, and the myrrh would cloud that smell of rotten flesh.
Así que como consecuencia fue adoptado también por altas sociedades para gente importante, una vez que fuesen sepultados, tuvieran buena fragancia cuando los fueran a visitar para prestarles respetos.
So it became a thing of high status, so when people would give this gift, it represented that when this person of high status and great importance, when they passed, they could use myrrh to have the sweet fragrance in their tomb.
Entrando en el simbolismo de que Jesús iba a ser sepultado.
And again, this represents in the symbolic way was that Jesus was going to be buried.
Y esto nos da tres cosas importantes. Es la imagen de que Cristo o Jesús era rey, era también digno de ser el sacrificio y que iba a morir.
And these three gifts represents that Jesus was worthy of being royalty and importance, and then also that he would be the ultimate and worthy sacrifice, and then that he would be buried ultimately.
Adicional a esto, todos tenían mucho valor, lo que significa que no iban a padecer tanto de dinero, o al menos eso es lo que pensamos.
And all these three items were really worth a lot and had high value, so this would help provide for the family for a great while.
En el verso 2 y 13,
And in verse 12 and 13 it says,
cuando llegó el momento de irse, volvieron a su tierra por otro camino. Estamos hablando de los sabios. ya que Dios les advirtió en un sueño que no regresaran a Herodes. Después de que los sabios se fueron, un ángel se le apareció del Señor a José en un sueño y le dijo: levántate, huye a Egipto con el niño y su madre. Dijo el ángel: quédate allí hasta que yo te diga que regreses, porque Herodes buscará al niño para matarlo.
And in verse 12 and 13 it says, when it was time to leave, the wise men, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. After the wise men were gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, flee to Egypt with the child and his mother. The angel said, stay there until I tell you to return, because Herod is going to search for the child to kill him.
Dice, un ángel se le aparece. No sabemos cuánto tiempo se quedaron en la casa, pero sabemos que un ángel se le aparece tanto a los magos como a José.
And we see here that we don't know how long they stayed at the house, but it says here that an angel appeared to the wise men and to Joseph.
La costumbre en muchas de estas culturas era que cuando venían visitantes se quedaban en la casa unos días y luego salían de viaje cuando tenían los elementos y la comida necesaria para completarlo.
And the tradition was when someone would visit a place, they would stay there a few days at their person's house, gather up materials, and then head out to their journey.
Entonces, es posible que se quedaron unos días, pero luego, una vez que se fueron, decidieron tomar una ruta diferente y no encontrarse con Herodes.
And we see that once they decided to pack up and go, they took a different route.
Y un ángel le advirtió a José para que saliera de ahí y huyera a Egipto.
An angel appeared to Joseph in a dream and told him flee to Egypt.
Ahora para este viaje tenían dinero porque tenían los regalos.
And for this trip, they already had some money because of their gifts that they were given.
Así que Dios proveyó lo que necesitaban para que pudieran sobrevivir este periodo de la vida.
And God provided what they needed in order to survive during this time period.
Y adicional le advirtió que se quedaran en ese lugar hasta que Herodes muriera.
And he told them, hey, stay there until your return, until we wait for King Herod to pass.
En el verso 16 nos dice: cuando Herodes se dio cuenta de que los sabios se habían burlado de él, se puso furioso. Entonces, basado en lo que dijeron los sabios sobre su primera aparición, Herodes envió soldados a matar a todos los niños que vivieran en Belén y en sus alrededores y que tuvieran 2 años o menos.
We see verse 16 says, Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men had outwitted him. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, based on the wise men's report of the star's first appearance.
Herodes encontró raro que no hubiesen regresado dentro de un tiempo específico.
And Herod grew suspicious about the wise men not coming back after a certain amount of time.
Y esto lo tomó y lo hizo que tuviera furia.
And he took this as an offense, and he was full of rage.
Porque primero se sintió que le faltaron el respeto siendo el rey.
First, he felt disrespected. As a king.
Pero segundo, le dañaron el plan tan maravilloso que había desarrollado.
And they also ruined his fabulous plan that he had developed in order to go find this new king.
Entonces, ¿cuál fue el plan B?
So what was plan B?
Eliminar a todo niño que hubiese nacido desde el momento que apareció la estrella.
And he decided to eliminate all the boys that were born around the time that the star first appeared.
Y por eso es que sabemos que los magos no llegaron hasta el año 1 o 2 del nacimiento de Jesús.
And that's why we know and estimate that the Magi didn't arrive until 1 or 2 years later after the birth of Christ.
Porque ese fue el momento en que apareció la estrella.
Because that's when the star first appeared.
Herodes elimina a mucha gente, pero Jesús termina a salvo en Egipto.
And Herod eliminates a lot of the boys, but Jesus is safely in Egypt.
Y los sabios regresan a sus ciudades o naciones de donde fuera que vinieron.
And the wise men return back to their homeland and their nations.
De hecho, muchos piensan algunos teólogos piensan que los magos, cada uno representaba un continente diferente.
And there's some theologians that think and estimate that each magi represents someone from each of the continents.
Que se conocían en aquel momento, que era el continente africano, el continente europeo y el continente asiático.
Which during that time, the known world was Africa, Asia, and Europe.
Entonces, por eso se estima o se piensa que cada uno representa, y en esencia comienza la expansión del mensaje de Cristo en el resto del mundo.
And it is believed that because of this, the expansion of Christ and what he did started around the world. There was a thing that helped kickstart it.
Entonces, la imagen de los sabios dentro de la natividad representa el alcance de Cristo, fue lo que dijimos al principio.
And the wise men represented in the nativity scene also represent the reach of Christ to all nations.
Los judíos pensaban que el Mesías venía solamente para salvar a Israel.
And the Jewish people only thought that the Messiah was only there to rescue Israel.
Pero desde el principio ya Dios tenía la idea de que el alcance del mensaje y la salvación de Él era para el mundo completo.
And from the beginning, we see that Jesus' mission and purpose was to give salvation to all the far reaches of the earth.
Entonces, cuando observamos la imagen de la natividad, lo que nos expresa son tres cosas.
And when we see the nativity scene, there's three things that we can learn from it.
Nos expresa el carácter de Cristo y en su ministerio.
And it demonstrates the character of Christ and his ministry.
Nos representa la razón y a quién Él vino a salvar.
It represents the reason why he came and who he came to save.
Y representa que todo el mundo estaba incluido en ese mensaje.
And it represents that the whole world was included in that message.
Entonces, cuando observamos y pensamos en la natividad, que es lo que hemos estado hablando a través de este mes de diciembre, tenemos que entender que todo apunta a que Cristo tenía la esperanza de salvar y rescatar a todo el que se había perdido.
And when we see the nativity scene and all its different aspects of it, it is a reminder of why Jesus came, that he had a plan, that he came and that he was going to bring salvation to the whole world.
Y que nosotros, que somos considerados gentiles y extranjeros a la cultura judía, tenemos hoy la bendición de estar aquí, habiendo recibido la salvación, la compasión y el amor de Dios en nosotros.
And we who are considered Gentiles or foreigners in the Jewish culture, we too have the right that he gave us to get salvation and experience his compassion, love, and forgiveness, and be part of that.
Tú y yo estamos representados en la escena de la natividad como esos que reconocieron a Dios aún no siendo parte de su cultura.
And you and I represent the people that were not part of that culture, but they were still reached out and by God and are made part of that scene to represent